and it's going to take about 3 minutes or so. So if you want to hang out, I really appreciate it. I'm testing some stuff. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Billy over here at Creating for Money. I really appreciate you joining me live. If you're joining me, if you're on Clubhouse, thanks for joining me as well. And today we're going to talk about 12 ways that you can make money with your podcast. Now, some of these will overlap, and it might not be exactly broken down into 12 different sections, but there's maybe one way that you can monetize your podcast a couple different ways within that one way. So anyway, if you're watching here on YouTube, appreciate it. Feel free to drop me a comment. And if you're on Clubhouse, if you have any questions and you want to submit them in the back channel, and then when the stream's over, I will open up the stage and we can have some more conversation if I have some time left. So the first thing, and I'm going to put these in the order of which I think they're the most valuable and has been the easiest for me to accomplish. So that is not saying that this is the way for everyone to do it, but is the way that has worked out for me the most. So the first way is traditional sponsorships, is traditional advertising on my podcast. I went out very quickly after starting a fishing podcast and realized, oh, this is valuable to the fishing community. It's valuable to people that are serving the fishing community. And I was able to go out and get a sponsor after episode number 4. So essentially I had a product, I had a podcast, had 4 episodes, had about 100 people listening to the show. And then I went out and pitched the value of that. So traditional sponsorships, in my opinion, are definitely the most profitable thing that I do in my podcast journey. It's the most beneficial on a marketing scale, on a monetization scale, makes the most money, gets me the most bang for my buck in time and effort, and it's just really great for partnerships. The next thing on my list here is affiliate partnerships. Now, this can be in a couple different ways, but one way I use it is I use Amazon Associates account. So I'm able to promote products that I use. So this is a little bit different because we don't really do this on our fishing show, but I do it for Creating for Money. So I'm talking to podcasters all the time about different products, that they use and that I use and I recommend. So like this microphone, for instance, I'm sitting here using it. I'm going live on YouTube. And this is the Shure SM7B, and I talked about this microphone on Amazon. I can do an Amazon Live program as well, but I share this Amazon link with a lot of people. They say, what mic do you use? I love the sound of it. I go, oh, it's the Shure SM7B. Here's an Amazon Associates link, which is an affiliate link, and I get paid with a qualified purchase. Now, to put it in perspective, this microphone's $400, and I get paid somewhere around $10, $11 every time one sells. So am I going to be a millionaire off of doing Amazon Associates program? Probably not, but it's a lot of low-hanging fruit. I recommend a lot of products. I recommend a lot of stuff. And I'm just using tech and podcasting and live streaming as an example. But just for instance, I'm looking around my desk and I recommend the Stream Deck. I recommend the Canon EOS RP. I recommend the RF 35mm lens. I recommend the boom arm. I recommend an iPad. I recommend the Glide Gear, the teleprompter I use. I recommend my Rodecaster Pro. I recommend the Fethead to go with the Shure SM7B. So you can see where I make a lot of recommendations when people are engaging. And this is all over the place. This is not just on my podcast, but if I'm doing a live stream, this happens all the time. I do a live stream or I do a Zoom call. Somebody jumps on and they go, oh my gosh, Billy, like, how did you get your video looking so good? And I go, here's how I did it. Here's the list of products. Here's the list of software. So I use a software called Ecamm Live. And so I have a place on my website, on my podcast website, that says gear and software. The link is up above. If you click into that link on Linktree, if you're watching or listening on Clubhouse here, you can see on my website, creatingformoney.com, there's a gear and software tab. And I put it there and I put a little disclaimer. If you buy it, I could make a little bit of commission. Now, once again, I'm not getting rich off affiliate stuff, but it is surprise money when I jump on my computer and I get an email that goes, bing, guess what? You just made $30 from Ecamm Live, or you just made $20 on Amazon this week. Like, that is really nice, what I call surprise money. So if you don't have an affiliate relationship set up, and Amazon is just one place, there's a lot of different places. I encourage you, make a list of products and services that you use. Go to their website, see if they have an affiliate program. If they don't, reach out to them. Some of my brands I work with right now, they didn't have an affiliate program. And I said, man, I think we could really make this happen. Is there any way you can set it up? And it doesn't cost very much, $50, $60 a month for them. But they'll get their return on investment if they can get people like you, a podcaster, live streamer, influencer, Instagram influencer, whatever, to get on the program. Then they can make more money. So first of all, sponsorships. Second of all, affiliate partnerships. The next thing here is to sell your own product. Now, if you have a community of people who are following you, following your podcast, following your live stream journey, then selling your own product, creating and selling. Now, this is a little bit more complicated, and I have a whole podcast episode. I don't have my podcast player up to tell you what number it is, but it's about just t-shirts. So I use t-shirts as an example. And you can literally launch and sell your own product with spending little to no money. So if that is something that you're curious about, you're interested in, shirts, t-shirts, hats, hoodies, a candy bar, for instance. I don't know if anybody follows Mr. Beast on YouTube, but this guy just launched a candy bar. And inside the candy bar, he's going to have some golden tickets. And guess what? People are going to get to come to his studio. They're going to be a part of this adventure, of this challenge. And then they're going to win a chocolate factory. Now, I don't know what that looks like, but I'm excited to see the video. I'm excited not to try the chocolate because I'm on keto, so I can't. But if I were going to, I'd buy the chocolate and try it. However, I'm going to buy the chocolate and just see if I can win a trip to see Mr. Beast and be a part of that. So your own products, and get creative with this. get creative. I'll be curious to get some feedback on this, but I'm considering launching a sticker club for podcasters. So one of the thing about podcasting is discoverability. It's really tough to get discovered. So I want to start a sticker club, something super cheap, $7 to $10, depends on what it costs me to print and ship, because I own a promotions business where we have a partner that does all these stickers for us. And so it would be something where I would take the stickers of the podcaster. So if you're a podcaster and you said, yeah, I want to be a part of the sticker club, and it's $10 a month or whatever, then you submit your artwork, and then each month in the beginning it would be one person, but once the group got really big, maybe we'd do 2 or 3 drops, but we would take one of those artworks, we would print stickers, and we'd ship it to the entire group with information of how to tag that person and how to help promote that podcast. So I'm thinking about that, and I'm thinking about stickers, but I'm thinking about how can I use stickers in a different way, in a more residual way, not just selling stickers with my brand on it. So if you're interested, if you're like, man, that sticker club thing sounds pretty cool, it is a networking thing in a distribution, like marketing thing in my mind is how we would use it, and it'd be pretty cool to support each other and show off each other's stickers and all that kind of fun stuff. So anyway, if you would be interested in something like that, please let me know, because I've been kicking around this old big brain of mine for a while. All right, next thing up here is listener donations. I'm absolutely floored, and I'm not even kidding. I am shocked by the amount of people who listen and watch my podcast about fishing who go and buy me a coffee. So buymeacoffee.com is super easy to set up. It is just like a PayPal or a Patreon or something of that nature, but you don't have to necessarily set up all these memberships. People can go, they can buy you a coffee, and they can support you. And we bring in somewhere around, I want to say like $200 a month off of Buy Me a Coffee, which is just insane. And the call to action is super, super easy inside of my podcast. We are talking about sponsorships, and then I do a sponsorship CTA, and then I do a buy me a coffee. So I make fun of my co-host. He's a little bit older than me, so I make fun of him about looking tired. Hey, why don't you guys go buy Gary coffee and buy me one too? And buy me a coffee is, I think you can set them up different prices, but I have them set up for $5. So you can buy me one coffee, or you can buy me 10 coffees. So for our fishing show, we are making money like $200 a month just from people giving us money, donating listeners saying, hey, we like you guys. We want to support these content creators. Here you go. Here's $5. And by the way, if you want to support me, go to buymeacoffee.com/Billy Thorpe, and you can buy me a coffee for Creating for Money. So there you go. So there's that. Super, super easy to set up. And it's just a little call to action in your podcast right here on Clubhouse. If you're listening on Clubhouse, right here on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube and you're a YouTuber, this is super, super easy. And we just put the link in the show notes, tell people, hey, the link's in the show notes, go click it. And we've even had people say, hey, the link didn't work because I put it in there wrong. And we want to make sure we can support you. Like, can you update the link or whatever? Or can you send us a link? So there you go. So there are a few different ways. The next thing here is to sell your own services. Are you a live streamer who can produce live streams for other people? Are you a podcaster who can produce podcasts for other people? What does this look like? Do you have a business that you can offer to your listeners? And it depends on your podcast, depends on what it is. But I'll tell you, it really doesn't matter, because I have a fishing show, and this is my second one. So the first one I had, my company, when I was doing t-shirts and promotional items full time, that company was called Thorpe Creative. And I promoted it on those episodes. So I promoted that business. It's a hobby podcast, but I promoted the business on there. And I'm not even kidding you, 2 years since I've been on that show, since I've co-hosted it or been a guest on it or anything else, I still get phone calls of people saying, hey, I saw your brand on the fishing podcast. I want to reach out and see if you guys are still printing shirts and all that kind of stuff. So figure that out. What does that look like for you? You can also sell your own services to your guest. Now, I did this, but not in a weird way. I'm going to take a little drink of water here because I'm talking a lot, but not in like a weird, hey, come and be a guest on my show, and then I'm going to pitch you live on the episode or on the live stream. But it's really just to build relationships. So I use my podcast as an open door to invite, and I had a podcast called Thorpe Creative Entrepreneur Podcast. I know, terrible name, but it was like my business name, Entrepreneur Podcast. Terrible name, but I was able to invite local businesses onto the show, help them promote, help them talk about their stuff, and then somewhere either before or after the show, they would always go, most of the time would go, man, is this what you do full time? Are you a full-time podcaster? And at that point, I was not a full-time podcaster or content creator. So the answer would always be no, but I do own a t-shirt printing business. And then sure enough, they would say, oh, we're looking for shirts, or next time we order, we're going to reach out to you or give us a business card or whatever. And that is a really good way of building business. So if you have a local business, or if you are, somebody who can provide, something, whatever, I don't know what it is, but that's a way to open up the door to network. All right, the next thing here, which I got the numbers all wrong, so I don't know if I think we're on like number 7. Sell your guest product as an affiliate. Now, one thing, a lot of podcasters are interviewing authors. I see podcasters all the time bringing on authors. And if you have an Amazon affiliate account and they sell their book on Amazon, you should be linking that in the show notes. All right. So make sure that's one of your strategies, is to always have that link of their product in the show notes. That way you can get paid a commission. Now, you might have somebody on your show that teaches a course or teaches a workshop, or, like maybe you've taken a course or a workshop and you're interviewing the person that you took their course or their workshop or their product or whatever. They make chicken pins, I don't know, or like chicken coops or whatever. By the way, if you watched that Shark Tank episode with the chicken coops, I felt bad for that guy. Anyway, that's a side note. So if they sell whatever they sell, see if they have an affiliate program. Hey, by the way, I love your product. That's why I brought you on the show. Is there any way that you can set up an affiliate? Now, if you're batch recording and you're recording, ahead of time, you might have time to set this up. If you're like me, we have about 3 or 4 weeks before our episodes air. So if somebody does have a product, they do have an affiliate link, we can get that affiliate relationship set up. Once again, figure that out. So if it's a product or sell your guest services, you can also, syndicate your show on YouTube. Some podcasters are going to be like, video is not a podcast, but whatever. We do ours on YouTube. We've been on there since episode 1. We're on episode 94. 95 comes out on Tuesday. And we have been able to make a little bit of money on YouTube. Now, we don't have a lot of subscribers. We have like 2,100 subscribers. And we get roughly, well, in the hot season, probably 5,000 to 6,000 views a month for the whole channel. For the off season right now, probably half of that. But we've made a little bit of money. It's not a lot, but it's probably since April 2020, we've probably made over nearly $600. Once again, not a ton of cash on YouTube, but it's okay. Another thing you can do is repurpose your content. Are you already using your content? Are you teaching on your podcast? Are you recording these videos? Can you turn that into something? Can you turn that into a workshop for yourself? Can you turn it into some kind of a paywall? Or maybe you even take your content from a while ago and you make it subscription only, you make it a membership. And now these are all kinds of different things, but I'm kind of blurry in the waters here. But maybe you charge you charge people to get that content, to the access to the back end content. What do they call that? I can't remember. Like whatever, previous content, previous episodes. You guys get what I'm saying. So you can kind of lock it up behind the paywall and only put out the latest 12 episodes. But if you want all the rest of the episodes, you got to go do this. So that is one thing that you can do. Another thing, now I am not a big fan of this. I hear this a lot. I am constantly researching and, trying to develop ideas and be innovative in this space when it comes to monetization. I am not a fan of this. It's on the list, but I'm not a fan. But I know a lot of people that make a lot of money doing this, and that is to charge your guest. I just think it's a little sloppy in my opinion. Like in our situation, I'll put it this way. In our situation, we are asking guests to come on our show and provide the content, to provide the value, to give us the goods. And so they're talking to us about fishing. They're teaching us about fishing. They're teaching our audience. So I would feel bad. Now, they get business from it. One of our guests told us, hey, my business grew 20% from being on a couple of your episodes. Let me know when I can come back. I mean, literally, that's what he told me. And so we're grateful for that. However, we're just not in a place where we want to charge our guests because we want more guests to come on. And if it's a new guest who's not been on our show and they don't understand the value of what they could potentially get, and we can't really, we're not in the business of marketing their business on the episode. We're trying to get information to help our audience. So if there's this paywall for your guest, in my opinion, this is how I would be. If somebody says, hey, Billy, it's $100 or it's $500 or it's $3,500 to come be on my show, I'm not going to be sitting there trying to figure out how can I bring your audience the most value. I'm going to be trying to figure out, like, what do I got to say to get them to come buy my product or my course or whatever it is. I'm going to be more focused on getting a return on my investment and not just giving freely. And that's just business, and that's just how it works. And any entrepreneur who makes an investment and doesn't try to figure out how to get a return on that investment isn't really an entrepreneur. All right. So that's one thing that I would be worried about. And I don't want to put my guests in that, that pressure to feel like they got to make their return on their investment. Once again, we already talked about charging for your content. Now, one thing you can do, and this might go under the tab of like Buy Me a Coffee and Patreon, is to do a members only something. Now, Discord is, Discord's been around for a long time for like gamers and stuff, but now creators and marketers and course creators and people who sell Bitcoin and NFTs, everybody's getting into this Discord space. And they're basically bringing people in there for free or a low amount, and then locking up all these sections, creating a little bit of FOMO to get you to buy into deeper levels, higher levels. Now, I think this is a pretty cool thing. If I were going to open up the sticker club I was telling you about, this is how I would do it. I would have a members only section within my Discord where those members would be in there, and they would get different discounts, different access to any workshops or all that stuff that I'm providing as well. Now the next thing, and this is probably going to be the last thing, I don't know how many, I just kind of been going through them as fast as I can here, but the last thing I'll talk about is some of these new social media subscriptions. Now, one, this is very limited because you can only do this if you have 10,000 plus followers, like on Instagram and all this kind of stuff. And then they also have like the star system on Facebook, and I believe on Instagram you can now give people money. I wouldn't really rely on this. Most content creators that I know are under that 10,000 mark. And we're all working diligently to find our audience and to build and to grow our audience and all those kinds of things. Now, I do want to jump back up to the list, all the way up to sponsorships, to say this is a big myth that you have to have 10,000 downloads an episode to make money with sponsors. We don't have that. We definitely don't have that for sponsorships, and you don't have to. Know your audience, know the value of podcasting, and frame up your sales pitch the correct way, and you can go out and get sponsorship dollars. I just want to encourage you with that because I know a lot of people are, they freak out. They call me and say, Billy, help me get a sponsor, but I only have 500 people watching my show. I have a person right now that I work with who we have her show up to $1,000 per episode. That's what she makes per episode, and she has way less listeners than me, but she has a niche audience, and she has niche sponsors who are very attracted to that audience, and that audience is very valuable to them. So the more you match that up, your audience, your niche, and the sponsors, the better the relationship is. We make thousands and thousands of dollars podcasting every single week. When I sit down at the podcast microphone, I am making money, and it's because I was able to go out and have a different structure of a conversation. So if you're having trouble getting a sponsor to sign on, you got to dig a little deeper and figure out what the true value is of that relationship and what you can bring to it. And also, how can you bring your whole ecosystem into it and not just rely on numbers. And I have a whole course on that. I'm not going to jump into it, or a whole workshop. I'm not going to jump into it. I'll answer some questions freely if some people over here on Clubhouse want to jump in. So I am going to bring some people here on Clubhouse. If you do want to come up and ask some questions, feel free to raise your hand. And just know that you are being recorded here on Clubhouse, I believe. Yeah, or not Clubhouse, on YouTube. Sorry. This is my first time like trying to record people on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, which if anybody wants to watch, it is linked up there in the link tree. All right, so I got a couple hand raises. Let's bring up Dr. All right, well, maybe she'll come up here. Let's see. Maybe not. All right. Anyway, so that is it. That is like 12 plus ways to monetize your podcast episode. So I'm going to end the YouTube live stream here. If anybody is in the Clubhouse room and you want to rewatch this, it's going to be only available on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to that, as I'll be doing some additional content on this platform as well. And I'll hang out here on Clubhouse for a few minutes.